This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Pensacola State Today. I'm Drexel Gilbert and I'm so glad that you've joined us. We have a wonderful program for you today. First, we're going to go on location to the Medical Explorers Boot Camp, which offers 8th through 12th graders a look at exciting healthcare programs that are offered by Pensacola State College. Dr. Ed Meadows, president of PSC, will be in the studios to talk about exciting new programs and events that are making a difference in the community and in the lives of students. Former PSC students have a great way to remain involved with the college. We'll tell you how. And you'll see how a professor of visual arts at PSC is reaching out to the community and helping veterans who are art students with his love of military memorabilia. First today, what do you want to be when you grow up? That's a question all of us have been asked at one time or another. And you know, today the choices are so great. How do you make a decision? Sometimes a little hands-on experience can help. The Medical Explorers Boot Camp is offering 8th through 12th graders that opportunity. These are students who believe they may have an interest in the healthcare field. Let's go to the Warrington campus and take a look.
The Medical Explorers Boot Camp is for 8th through 12th grade students that would have the opportunity to come on campus and learn about all the different health programs that we have to offer at Pensacola State College. It gives them a taste of what it would be like to work in the different fields. There are so many things that you can become. And if you're interested in the medical profession, having hands-on activities within these different professions will assist you in helping you decide what you want to do for your future.
Now there are a few details, housekeeping rules that we need to go over.
The students will actually come in and we have a business meeting where we have the officers within the Medical Explorer Boot Camp. They set up the different activities that they want to do and share them with the instructor, and the instructor will set up a hands-on activity so it will engage the students in whatever areas that they would like to cover from the programs that we offer here at the college. Most recently, the students were able to work in nursing, and they did the critical care of nursing, EMT, paramedic, where the students had all the hands-on, almost like a little small mock disaster where they had injuries that they worked with. We had the students from other health programs here that volunteered to come out to work with the students, to be victims. And our Medical Explorer Boot Camp students applied the first aid and things that they needed as they came in with the different millage.
Are you ready to go work a car crash? Yeah! All right.
This evening they'll be going over traffic crashes, also how to respond as soon as they get to a scene of whether it's a traffic crash, whether they're out and about in real life, to pick on certain behaviors that are displayed with different people and different patients and clients, which will help benefit them later on in the future, whether it's medical, whether it's in life and personal, or wherever they go.
You arrive on scene. What do you do? Go for it.
We have 2 cars. We have a traffic crash. We have a small child in the back of one car with 2 passengers. We have 3 in the other. And we're trying to display how to come onto a scene, how to control the scene, also what steps you need to take and be proactive with.
EMS is en route, but someone needs to be here to stabilize the neck, right?
Yeah.
Hands-on today, they're going to be extracting and lifting. They're going to be hands-on with their patients, such as holding C-spine, communicating with their patients, learning how to take reports and write notes.
What excites me about this is that I'm more of a hands-on learner. So being that it's CSI, I've never been at a crime scene before, that we get to make a crime scene is pretty fun for me. So I just feel like it's pretty awesome. I think I'm going to feel like it's a real wreck or something. So I think it's going to be great.
The instructor of our program was a part of our Medical Explorer Boot Camp in the past and has completed our EMT program and is now teaching the program.
Emergency forms and photography releases must be turned in. Are we understood?
I got started in this when I was about 16 years old. I was in the sports medicine program at West Florida High School, and I saw it on the bulletin board, and just more extracurriculars, how to get community service hours, which is a big thing for scholarships, not knowing fully what I was going to get into. I was in Medical Explorers for 3 years. I went to college knowing full well that I wanted to be an EMT. I wanted to help people. The program became full circle for me. When I graduated EMT school from here at Pensacola State College, and I got the phone call from Miss Jennifer Ponson, which ran my Medical Explorers camp when I was in it. And she gave me a call and asked if I wanted to help out with a mock disaster, which is a simulation camp they do over the summer here at Pensacola State College. And I just knew that I wanted to be more involved. I wanted to help more children and kids just figure out what they wanted to do in life and to feel more fulfilled with what they do. And when she gave me the offer of becoming the instructor for Medical Explorers, I jumped on it the first chance I got.
I got involved in Medical Explorers Boot Camp because I thought it'd be an interesting field to learn with hands-on activities and visual subjects. And of course, I enjoy the medical field the most.
Now, what questions would you ask?
What's your name?
Do you know where you are? Bingo, do you know where you are? The reason why you ask that is because people who suffer from a head injury from a car accident may not know where they're from.
This program pretty much gives you a better understanding of what to look forward to in a medical program, the types of things you'll see, the types of things you'll feel, and you have to have a better attitude towards it.
Well, this is such an incredible program this year. We had over 200 students enroll in this program. Pensacola State College always enjoys working with the community on many different projects. The students that will come in will learn maybe a field or a career of interest that they would like to pursue in their future.
It makes me feel very excited and very fulfilled that whether it's for one meeting or 9 months that they're with me or the whole year, I feel like I've helped play a role in their lives.
I see myself being a doctor or physician, hopefully, helping in a big hospital, and I hope this program will give me a better understanding and help me get prepared for it.
If you or someone you know would like to participate in the next Medical Explorers Boot Camp, contact Jennifer Ponson at Pensacola State College. Her contact information is on the screen. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, Dr. Ed Meadows joins us in the studios. Welcome back to Pensacola State Today. Joining us in the studios now, Dr. Ed Meadows, president of Pensacola State College, to talk about some exciting events and programs that are going on at the college that impact not only the students, but also the community. Welcome, sir. We're so glad that you're here today.
Thank you, Ms. Gilbert. I'm happy to be here.
Well, in previous programs, we've discussed that it's really important for this college not to be just an island of academia, but to actually be a part of the community, and that is something that Pensacola State College does really well. And there are some particular events that have happened or are about to happen that we were going to talk about today. What do you want to talk about first?
Well, you know, last time we talked about our partnerships with Workforce, and today I think I want to kick off by saying how very proud we are to be a part of the MANA Food Pantries program for Philabo and Pickleball. And of course, over the past 6 years, Bill Clover has led the charge in our visual arts program. And as a matter of fact, Bill just received the U.S. President's Call to Service Lifetime Achievement Award for his contributions to MANA Food Pantries. And he has not only purchased and made a good portion of 6,000 different bowls that are sold for $30 a piece. to support MANA food pantries. And we have the 7th annual Fellow Bowl for MANA at WSRE coming up Saturday, January the 18th, and that's going to be from 1 to 3. And you can come by and have a delectable selection of soups once you buy your bowl. And I think there was a long line last year for the soup kitchen, so to speak. But this is a wonderful project for Pensacola State to be involved in, particularly for our students and our faculty. It gives exposure to the talents of our students and the dedication and commitment of our faculty to helping our community.
And this is a very popular event, as you said, with the faculty and with the students as well as the community, and a lot of fun as well.
It is, and you know, we have demonstrations on how to make bowls, and so it's a good educational process where our faculty get to exhibit their talents to the community that attend the pickleball. And certainly we get to highlight some of the local chefs' favorite soups and do good for our community.
And why is that important? Why is it so important for the college to do good for the community, to be so involved?
Well, I think one of the most important aspects of Pensacola State College is that 98% of all of our graduates live and reside their entire life in our college service area, and so they go out into the community to earn a living, but while they are here, it's very important for them to understand how important it is to give back to the community. And so this service learning project, we have multiple service learning projects, but this is one of the highlights for us to get to help students understand the full responsibility of living in a democratic society.
And this is something coming up this month, but there are also some events that involve Pensacola State College greatly that are in the future, and one of those is Skills USA. This goes beyond the community. This reaches out to students and visitors from all over the state.
And we could not do that without community partnerships. You know, every conceivable of 118 different skill sets, you're looking at that many or more different businesses and companies and industries in our region that are participating, helping to judge, providing their facilities, major sponsors to undertake this. Even our county commission has given us a $100,000 grant to offset the cost at the Bay Center to not only do the Skills USA state competition for 3,500 plus people from across Florida that will be in Pensacola this spring, but also to allow us to do a job fair in partnership with Workforce Escarosa to bring in middle school kids from across our two-county service area to see what kind of high-skill, high-paying jobs that can be in their future.
So for those who aren't familiar with Skills USA, a quick description of what this is going to be.
High schools and colleges have student organizations that are sponsored by those institutions that allow students to become members, where they get to compete at the local, regional, state, and national levels in their particular skills. And this can be anything from air conditioner, refrigeration, carpentry, to cybersecurity, electronics, nursing, soft skills like job preparation, interview, and also their presentation skills for making presentations for interviews. So it's a very holistic kind of organization. It was once known as VICA, and so now it's called Skills USA.
Well, I had the opportunity actually to be on site for last year's Skills USA, and was just amazed at what A, the students are learning, B, their level of participation, and C, I spoke with some of the students that were in the soft skills competition, and they're really ready to get out there and start making a difference in the world, and this has really helped them. And Pensacola State College plays a big role in this and hosting it.
Well, we have some people that are leaders at the state level, Jennifer Ponson being one of those, and of course we have in our local community the executive director for Skill for the state of Florida, that I like to think is a product of Pensacola State. So we think, that this is a way to not only showcase Pensacola and the region to the rest of the state, but also to bring in some fairly high-level types of companies that normally sponsor the state-level competition, like Caterpillar, IBM, and others, to see our community and hopefully come back, if not just for a visit, but maybe even to start a business.
That would be awesome. Well, as always, we run out of time before we ever have the opportunity to get to as many topics as we'd like. I would really like at some point to talk to you about the new baccalaureate degree program, cybersecurity, and some of the others. Could you come back next time?
Certainly.
All right. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you in the studio.
And thank you for inviting me back, Drexel.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're here, and I know you are too. We're going to take a break, and then we will be right back. Welcome back to Pensacola State Today. Joining us in the studios now is Patrice Quittin, and Patrice is the Executive Director of Alumni Affairs at Pensacola State College. And welcome. We're so glad that you're here today.
Thank you very much. It's good
to
be here.
I know that we recently had graduation ceremonies at PSC and about 1,000 students graduated. So the first question I have for you is just how many graduates did get their start at Pensacola State College?
Well, when you say graduates, that is 92,000 plus. We're working on 100,000 here pretty shortly. And we have 1.2 million alumni of record, or those who took classes here at the college over our 65-year history.
That's a lot of people that have passed through this campus and have taken seats in these classrooms. And a lot of well-known names are included in that list. Why don't you run down a little bit for us?
We have many, too many to list, of course, but to start with, we have 3 mayors. We have Jerry Maygarden, former Mayor Mike Wiggins, and currently Beverly Zimmern, who is mayor of Gulf Breeze, is one of our alums. We also have legislators and an astronaut. The late Captain Poindexter was an astronaut who is an alumnus of the college. Many of the philanthropists in our area who have given back so very generously to the college over the years. Sandy Sansing, Charlie Switzer and his family, his wife Fran, and I think he also has a couple of sons who have gone through here. I don't know if they've completed or not. But just many more. We have performing artists, visual artists, Victor Bocas, who's down in Tampa. Working for Lamar, we have Namratha Advani, and she is working in a managerial role with Lamar. So we just can't. And
Food's
chefs.
One of my favorite topics. So chefs.
Yes, from our culinary program, we do. We have many chefs and entrepreneurial restaurateurs, such as Joe Abston, who has started several businesses in the area, and Alex McPhail comes to mind at Iron. He's been in the news lately a lot. Came from New Orleans after here. So it is one of those colleges that is so broad in scope and what we offer, so much to love about Pensacola State, then junior college, and come back and connect with and continually improve through our continuing education department.
And something in the continuation line, there's a buzz about the Alumni Association. Talk to me about that. What's up?
Well, what's up is that Dr. Meadows had a vision for our 65th anniversary. We were founded in 1948, that we would start a separate department, and that this department would be called Alumni Affairs, and it would be there to serve specifically our alumni and to connect them with each other, provide experiences and opportunities for them to stay connected with the college, but also to come back to experience the college as it is today, regardless of when they graduated, whether it was several years ago or just last year.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the organizational structure. We have a couple of minutes left. I want to talk about that and then let people know how they can get involved.
We have a board of directors, and Jerry Maygarden is chairing that board currently. Ted Kershaw is our vice president. We have chapters and something called ACES, which is our Council of Alumni Employees, who are helping us connect. The chapters will be formed over time and they'll grow. We do have already some in New York. We have a Nashville chapter. We're working on a West Coast chapter. And then of course we have chapters in Jacksonville and along the Gulf Coast. And then we have nursing chapters that are forming. And from there, the sky's the limit because there's so many places we can go with this.
So how does one get involved with this, should we decide to do that?
Very easily.
Okay.
First of all, you can go to the website. That is a new website that was created specifically for our alumni, and that is alumni.pensacolaState.edu, and sign up for free or join the Alumni Association for a modest amount. It's $25 for an annual membership, $250 for a lifetime membership, and right now we're offering charter memberships for this anniversary year.
Why should an alumnus want to remain involved with this college? Talk about what that connection is and should be.
Well, there are many reasons, of course, mostly because so many of our alums live in the 90-mile radius of this college. There are arts and opportunities for education, professional development opportunities, things that will improve their lives, but also can help improve the college, whether it's giving back with their volunteer time or giving to a scholarship fund that they wish to start. And also, of course, very many members of their family could enjoy coming here through the leisure and kids' college and continuing education.
Well, Patrice, your enthusiasm for the college and for this this particular efforts are just radiate, and it's so exciting, and I want to be a part of it as well, so I will be getting in touch with you.
You can be a part of it and anytime you wish, and I have a lapel pin for you.
You do?
We do have new lapel pins, we have a new logo, we have our own e-newsletter, and since you're an alumna of the college as well as I welcome you to the Alumni Association.
Well, thank you. I am privileged to be a part of the Alumni Association.
Indeed,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today and telling us about this. I'd like to have you back later on. Maybe we can talk about it some more.
Excellent. I'd love to.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll take a break and be right back. The professors and instructors at Pensacola State College spend a lot of time in the classroom interacting with their students, but they also take their knowledge and their love of community into the community from time to time. Such was the case recently when Dr. Patrick Rowe took on the Pensacola Museum of Art. Let's take a look.
I've been a teacher at Pensacola State College for 31 years now. I started teaching at the college in 1983. We're in the Pensacola Museum of Art, and this is an exhibition in the two large galleries upstairs. The show is made up of original posters and flags from both World War I and World War II. And these are not reproduction posters, modern reproductions, or modern reproductions of flags. They all date from the era of World War I and World War II. There are around 130 objects in this show, posters and flags, and then also in the show there are helmets from World War I, World War II, dog tags, my father's dog tags from World War II. There are other objects, you could say artifacts from World War I and World War II that fit with the imagery shown in the posters and the flags as well. My father was a staff sergeant who flew in C-47s, which were cargo planes, and then he also flew in B-24 Liberators. He was what in the time was called the Army Air Force. He was in the war during the later part of the war, 1944 and 1945. He served in the European theater. Fortunately, he survived the war, so So that was one of the things that led me to create this show. Of course, this was the era before television. So one of the principal ways ideas were communicated to the American people, and this occurred in all the other countries as well, including the Axis powers, not just the Allied powers. But communication through imagery was huge. The government controlled pretty carefully the posters that were being produced for a number of reasons. Censorship was something of importance because they had to keep secrets during both World War I and World War II. As a matter of fact, there are a number of posters in the show that deal with the theme, loose lips sink ships. In other words, there are certain things that have to remain secret. There are a number of letters in the exhibition that were written by soldiers and sailors during World War II. They're especially interesting because I think they illustrate the loneliness of war and things that the soldiers and sailors were missing when they were abroad. In the exhibition, in the room where the World War II objects are on display, there's a portion of a parachute from World War II. That parachute actually was my father's during the war. And at the end of the war, in the United States, there was a shortage of quality cloth because so much was going to the war effort. And what a lot of the soldiers in the Army Air Force did was they brought their parachutes home, and then they would give the parachute to their mother, and they would use the cloth from the parachute to make a wedding dress for their fiancée. Or in my case, my mother already had a wedding dress. So my dad gave the parachute to his mom, and she made a nightgown for my mother, my grandmother on my father's side. And that's on display in the show. What's left of my dad's parachute and the nightgown that was made for my mother is on display as well. Oh, it's been a powerful experience for me, very emotional. Almost everybody I talk to, they have a story from their family, from their father or their grandfather about mostly World War II, but sometimes World War I. Something I have enjoyed about this exhibition are the stories I've been told. And it's really amazing. Almost everybody has a number of stories that they want to share with me about things that happened to their family. There have been a number of veterans who have helped me arrange this, who've worked on the project. So it's been a group effort. And the museum also has been wonderful, donating time and collecting money. I think it's extremely important to have a show like this to illustrate what war is like, the suffering of war and the cost of war oftentimes, and the debt that we owe the veterans who have sacrificed so much, not just in World War I and World War II, but in other wars, and in the war that's going on right now in Afghanistan. We owe these people a huge, huge debt, and we should never forget the sacrifices that the veterans and their families have made for the country.
The money that was raised from the admission price to see this collection is going to be used for a scholarship fund that helps veterans who are students of art at Pensacola State College. And that's going to do it for this edition of Pensacola State Today. We're so glad that you've joined us. We'll see you next time.